to Utobia. Today I'm going to make one of my favourite dishes, which is asparagus Milanese. The word Milanese obviously means this dish originates from Milan. I've been making this dish for many years now, and it's super simple, and I think it almost goes for every meal of the day as well. Asparagus, eggs, cheese. It's absolutely beautiful to eat. So these asparagus I'll be using today are really big, thick green asparagus. You could always use purple or white asparagus if you wanted to as well. Traditionally in Milan they'll use duck eggs for this dish. Sometimes they're poached, but I like to very gently fry them so the eggs beautiful and runny. We always serve them sunny side up as well. Because this dish doesn't have too many ingredients in there, it's really important to make sure that the ingredients you do use are of the best quality you can get. And I'm going to be using Parmigiano Reggiano, which will give a beautiful underlying sharpness and saltiness to this dish. So for one portion I probably use about 20 grams of butter, and that'll include a little bit of beurre noisette that'll go over at the end, and also some butter to actually cook the asparagus out in once they've been poached as well. Per two portions, I'd say just a very small handful of parsley, which we'll finally chop. The first thing we need to do here is actually clean up the asparagus, because we've got this really woody end down here, which isn't good to eat. It's not easy to digest. So a lot of people actually just chop through there with a knife, but the way I was always taught was just to actually bend the asparagus, and where it naturally snaps is the bit that should come off. I have a pot of water here with some boiling water in there, and the first thing I want to do is season that up. Make sure as well that the pot you're using actually has enough room for the asparagus to sit comfortably in there. You don't want to sort of get a really small pot and have to jam them in there. You want to have room for them to sort of move around so they all cook evenly. I've got a smaller of the two pan here sitting on a low to medium heat. I'm just going to put a thumb of butter into there. This pan I have here is also sitting on a low to medium heat, and this is going to be for my eggs. This dish comes together pretty quickly, and you kind of need to have a couple of things on the go at once. The asparagus has been cooking for 1.5 minutes now, so they're still very al dente or to the tooth, or raw in the middle if you want to say that. So I'm going to pop them straight into this pan with the beurre noisette and start to toss them through that lovely nutty butter. And at this stage of the game we can start to think about seasoning with salt and pepper as well. But just keep in mind that we've already cooked them in salted water, so you don't want to go too overboard with the salt. Have a little taste. I'm going to cook these eggs till the white has just set and the yolk is really runny. And what we end up with is that when we actually fork into that yolk on the plate, the yolk will ooze out over the eggs and almost start to slowly cook over the hot asparagus. And I always kind of put them down and then just pinch them at the end a little bit so they fan out. It's a little bit 80s, but it looks nice. Egg goes straight on. It's going to take a small handful of flat leaf parsley and really bunch it up in my hand there and run through it with a knife. Parmesan cheese, microplane. And last but not least, the beurre noisette goes straight over the top. There we have it, asparagus Milanese, one of the first dishes I ever learned to make, and a super classic still to this day. If you want to make it a little more luxurious, you can take some white truffle. Oh, Mum. If you want to make it a little more luxurious, take some white truffle or even a couple of drops of truffle oil and dop it over the top there. I hope you enjoy it.